All right, welcome to our continued modules on the basics of residential green remodeling and new construction. This course, entire modules is approved for 2.5 hours in GBCI, NARI Green, AIBD, AIA HSW, Certified Green Professionals, and may be applicable to your local or state-based design and contractor license. I am your presenter throughout this course. My name is Brett Little. I'm the Executive Director at the Green Home Institute. The Green Home Institute is a nonprofit with a mission to empower people to make healthier and more sustainable choices in the renovation and construction of the places we live. And a huge thanks to our major sponsor, Anderson Windows. Check them out for all of your fenestration needs, new and existing, as well as Panasonic Ventilation for all of your ventilation needs. Huge thanks to our members, volunteers, directors, and all of our partners out there. Couldn't do it without you. So throughout these modules, if you've been covering the modules 2 through 6, we have went through the basics of green building. We highly recommend that you start there if you haven't yet, looking at materials, energy, health, water, and place, and how they holistically work together to bring about a full green building. It's important not to just focus on one area, especially on energy, where we typically focus sustainability efforts on energy most of the time, or energy and health, but to look at our construction remodeling practices holistically through these 5 pillars. So with that, we take these 5 concepts and we put them all together in a neat and organized way, utilizing things like green building certifications, labels, and resources. Typically what ends up happening now is, just like the word quality, we see a lot out there in the world, people, builders, designers, architects, developers. Green has sort of become another one of those words where, yep, we all do green building, that's what we do. But what does that actually mean in practice, and what does it look like, and how do you rate that, how do you measure that, and how do you communicate and put value to that to ensure, number one, that it's actually happening, and to ideally avoid greenwashing. And overall, we trust that everyone is doing this, but the concept is to trust but verify that it's actually taking place. And so some of the big values of utilizing green certification is having tools, guidance on how and why to implement these 5 green pillars into your remodeling and new construction practices, to have accountability in place for the designer, subs, architects, the teams, to ensure that this is done right, potentially to access incentives to ensure have a quality assurance in place that these above code strategies are actually being implemented, because the code official isn't looking at that. And then overall to do marketing to help tell your story that you are a green designer, builder, contractor, developer, and again, because a lot of things can get greenwashing and everything, to help these tools help to tell that story. And so, starting out with at the very basics, we recommend that no matter where you're at, once you have a good understanding of where to start with green building, go out and pick a checklist, a program checklist. And we'll cover what some of the programs are out there, but go take a look at some of the different programs that are out there. And for the most part, all of their checklists, their free resources that are online that you can download and access and use to help guide either your next project, or you can use it to take a mock project through, and just give you a good understanding of where the basics are of above code residential green building construction are. These tools can be either in Excel format, or they can be online, and you can some of them you can use at no charge at all. And again, they can help you organize it, and then they also give you points. So again, that can really help you measure how green your project is based on how many points you're getting all together, or in certain categories of green building throughout these checklists. The other thing is the manuals. These not only do they have checklists which give you the basic concepts of what you need to do for a residential green building project, but you can pick up many of these green building rating system manuals. And so these manuals will give the full details of the who, how, why, when, and what to do on a green building project, how to verify it, what the requirements would be if you're following that particular program are, what the benefits are of doing this. Sometimes these manuals even give out language that can be used to produce for your specifications, scopes of work, your contracts, your accountability forms, who the responsible party most likely should be for something like this. And so again, it really just takes the guesswork out of green building. You can go through all of these manuals and depending on which program you're learning and use them to give you that formal guidance. And some of them are free, some of them do have a cost. And then getting your team together and doing what they call a pre-construction plan review or a design charrette is very important. So once you've either committed to a green building project or attempting a green building project, it's good to get a diverse skill set of trades in the room. And again, that's all going to depend on how large your project is, up to massive multifamily, mixed-use, mid-rise, or high-rise housing. You're going to have a lot more people involved than a single-family remodel. But it's good to make sure that at the very least, the heating and cooling contractor is communicating with the builder, is communicating with the landscape architect, communicating with the architect and the homeowner or developer, and saying, how does what I'm doing fit into with what you're doing, so that we don't have any issues during the construction phase, we don't have any hang-ups, and that if there are any changes during construction, how do we effectively communicate those changes so again, things don't happen. And so this can save a lot of money, whether you're doing a green building project or not. Just ensuring effective communication can save a lot of money, and then also help reduce some of the burden of these high-performance green building strategies we discussed in the other modules. Again, a lot of these programs have accountability forms built into them, so this is a great time during the design phase to assign who is going to be responsible for what. If it's not a normal process of an HVAC contractor or landscape architect to do some of these sustainability features, this is a great time for them to see the accountability form, for these forms to potentially be embedded right into their contract, saying that in order for them to get paid or paid a certain amount, they have to sign off that they have completed these certain sustainability measures, or that they have to hit a certain sustainability certification level. Most of these programs have a silver, basic, gold, platinum, emerald level. And so again, if it's the goal of the group during the pre-construction time to hit this certain level, each of these entities, contractors need to understand how they fit into it and then be held accountable to hit that, and then have their work reviewed and then have them sign off on it, which can ideally, at the very least, just show that they've done it as a checklist, all the way to potentially having this in your back pocket, should any kind of legal issues ideally not have to happen, but should they happen, you'll have these documents in place, to ensure that the fixes are taking place on the project. And then having a level of quality assurance. We see it all the time. Things get missed, and it's not necessarily because anyone's doing something wrong or they're bad people, but we just see things get missed all the time. And so a lot of these green building programs have third-party quality assurance inspections and testing processes built right into them to ensure that there is an on-site third party, ideally a third party or second party rater, doing energy inspections, testing. What they're going to be doing is looking behind the drywall, doing what they call a pre-drywall inspection. And a lot of times they'll catch insulation and air sealing measures that weren't done correctly, or ducts that weren't installed correctly, or even the wrong heating and cooling equipment or water efficiency devices being installed wrong or missing. And so a lot of things can be caught during the construction phase so that they can be fixed, because trying to fix them later if you have to tear down drywall or come back to the client's home, God forbid, can be costly, can be annoying. And so these quality assurance individuals who are looking beyond what the code official is looking at, who's mostly looking at health and safety, basic things, are in there testing duct leakage, testing the leakage of the house, and making sure that the goals set out during the pre-construction plan have been met, and to avoid durability, safety, health, or energy efficiency failures in the long run. They might be using checklists, if you will, to go through. These checklists might be associated with a certain certification program you're trying to hit. And then again, that's something they can check off in the field or put notes on saying, hey, this was missed, make sure to get this fixed, make sure to get the contractor, the HVAC, the drywall, or the insulator back in to fix this before you enter the next phase of the program. And then beyond those incentives or beyond those values of green building certification is a ability to help tell your story, to help do marketing that you are a green contractor, builder, designer, architect, developer, if you will. Again, we see a lot of greenwashing out there. People say they're doing green, but what does that really mean? And so these third-party certifications can help tell your story, give you a certificate of achievement that can be shown off online through social media, shown off as a plaque, shown off that you are in fact a residential, committed to residential green building, and these tools again can be used to assure homeowners of this and allow them to show off that they have a green certified house, and that's something of value to them to be able to say, hey, we're committed to reducing our impact on the planet or being environmentally restorative, and here's the proof of that. And then also, being able to celebrate your success and be able to promote what you've done as a high-performance project, being able to do green building tours, and all of these things can lead back to more business and getting the word out. A lot of times, we see folks call us or other organizations in certain regions looking for the green builders, the ones who've accomplished it. And so being able to have these success stories and project profiles, marketing tools, green building tours, again, just help bring in more business, add in more value to your bottom line. The other thing is that these programs can be tied to incentives. And we are putting out some education on all of the green building incentives available out there. These incentives are very, for the most part, localized to certain municipalities, states, or jurisdictions. Some of them come in the form of tax abatements for green buildings. Some come in direct tax incentives or tax deductions, such as solar or geothermal. Some come as reduced permitting fees or permitting times, such as what you might find in Chicagoland or Indianapolis if you do a green building project. Others, some of the utility rebates that are out there are directly tied to helping you achieve green building certification. And there's all sorts of incentives out there. And also there's local policymakers who want to work with you as a green building leader to help develop these incentives to encourage other peoples to raise the bar and go to a higher level. So make sure to check online and across the board, what might be available to spur this green building fees and help, get the higher upfront cost down for some of these types of certifications and above code building strategies. So getting into what programs exist, we'll go through these pretty quickly. The United States Green Building Council has probably the most recognized, internationally recognized green building rating system that started back in the 90s in the commercial industry, but in 2005 now impacts the residential industry. Their program can be used all the way on single-family rehabs up to 20-story mixed-use high-rise projects across the globe at this point under the Lead for Homes low-rise or mid-rise certification program. And so this program is probably the most widely recognized and probably one of the ones that have the most marketing as far as quality assurance, as well as some of the higher costs associated with getting a certification on this. I believe there's over 150,000 certified projects or units that are LEED certified across the globe at this point. If you're in the affordable housing organization or work, the Enterprise Green Communities program is a national program that's probably one of the most popular. And so again, this is developed for single family through mid-rise mixed-use neighborhoods and communities and multifamily buildings, pursuing affordable housing strategies and design, for senior living, low-income housing, and it's typically tied into low-income housing tax credits and typically used for that across the country, that states that do have those low-income housing tax credits. The other thing to note about this program is it's fully funded and completely free, though heavy on documentation. And so you can check that out on Enterprise Green Community or Enterprise Community Partners. The National Green Building Standard is a program developed by the Home Innovation Lab and is a subsidiary of the National Association of the Home Builders. This is the Home Builders Association's green building standard that is nationally known and can be used, again, all the way from very small renovation projects to large, high-rise, multifamily mixed-use housing. So there's a huge growing program. I believe there's over 60, 70,000 projects across this country that are using this National Green Building Standard, and you can check that out on the Home Innovations Lab website as well. More popular is Energy Star. You can actually certify buildings under the Energy Star certification label, both new, existing homes, single-family homes, all the way up to 5-story mid-rise multifamily mixed-use buildings can carry the Energy Star for Homes label. And so this label focuses primarily on energy efficiency, but also looks at some durability, comfort, and water management strategies. Also, if you're using the Energy Star label for your project, you can use the EPA's Indoor Air Plus qualified home. There's another subset of criteria that really deep dives into indoor air quality. Along with that, the EPA has created the Water Sense program, which looks at both water conservation and water quality, water filtration, and water flow rates that we discussed in our water module. And so you can use what they call the trifecta of green buildings, Water Sense, Energy Star, and then EPA. And if you want to go one further ahead of that, the Zero Energy Ready Home is a program developed by the Department of Energy that hitches itself to these three programs on the left here, but then also says, build and design a home that is ready to go zero energy in the future when the costs of renewables come down. So basically, it gives you that guidance to follow some of those passive solar features that we talked about in the energy module. And the idea is that it gives you the guidance and the certificate that you designed the home facing the sun and pre-wired it for electricity or for future solar or potentially wind, and that those panels can be added right on the home and connected easily without any extra cost or intrusion once the homeowner or building owner decides that it's ready to go. Taking that one step further is the Passive House program. Now, Passive House started in the U.S. during the energy crisis, went over to Germany, got perfected there, and now there is our very own U.S. version of Passive House, which has now based itself off the Energy Star program, the HERS Index, and the DOE Zero Energy program. And this basically encourages builders to make a super tight, energy efficient home that is 90% more efficient than the standard built home, and ideally does not require that high of a large heating and cooling system, so that primarily your heating and cooling is happening from passive solar gain and cooling from shading, so that you don't need a large heating system. In fact, some of these buildings are being built without any heating systems really at all. again, depending on the strategy used and the climate being used. This program looks at some very stringent things like very low air changes per hour, very low projected energy usage, and uses some really intense energy modeling software as far as quality assurance certification to make sure that it's done right. But you can check them out at the Passive House Institute US to learn more about this program. And then we've got the Green Star rating system, which started in the Twin Cities, is now a Midwest-based program that can also be used across the country. This is a program that was developed primarily for additions and remodels, and it's really good for those types of programs because there's not too many rating systems that can be used to help certify or score an addition or remodel, but it also can be used for construction of new homes as well and can be accessed online. It's a pretty small but a growing certification program as well. And then there are many other really strong regional programs. If you're down in the south, check out the southeast, that is, check out the Earthcraft House. That is a really strong green building rating, residential green building rating system down there. Over in the Pacific Northwest on the right there, you want to check out the Earth Advantage Home Certification. Again, another really strong rating system for those in that region. Down on the left is Build It Green, which is a California-based residential green rating system that's very popular. And then Wisconsin has its own, the Wisconsin Environmental Initiatives has the Green Build Home, which is being used across the state for single-family, multifamily, and large projects as well. So these are very good rating systems depending on where you're located in the country. So if you want to learn more about these, we have a whole session committed to comparing and contrasting these green building rating systems. We even talk about the Living Building Challenge, which can be used for residential homes if you're into restorative design and construction. And we compare the costs, hard costs, soft costs. We compare the stringencies, quality assurance, some of the sustainability and how far each program goes. Quality assurance, anything you might be able to think of, the popularity, we take a look at all of that, and we also try to keep this program up to date as these rating systems change and as market forces change. And then individually, most of these rating systems I discussed, we have full 1-hour sessions that you can check out on many different platforms as well. And ones that might be missing, we're going to be building those out as well too here very soon. So check those out on our website or where else we have our sessions at. So that concludes certification, and we're going to be wrapping up here with Module 8 on value, financing, and educational resources to further your journey and help you commit your next project to green building. Thank you.